Hello, welcome back to Faces of Truth. My name's Alexander McCauley. For the next few minutes, I would like to address the topic of the health department versus the small business. In the Constitution, we've got an amendment in the Bill of Rights which states that if the government sees fit to take any property away from the individual, they have to compensate them for the property stolen, or taken, sorry. Otherwise it is stealing. During the past 2.5 months, everyone has been told to stay inside their house, not go to work, etc. Businesses have had to shut down. Period, because obviously everyone's inside, no customers. Only places that have been allowed to stay open are Walmart's, the big box stores. Not even Best Buy stayed open. You could go for curbside delivery, etc., but most restaurants stayed open to cook food, deliver it, or take it out to people on the... But you know, the reason you eat out is for the atmosphere in the restaurant, being able to get with, or connect with people, etc. I don't go out to eat strictly to eat. I do it for the sociality. There are some people just sit at their table and whatever. Usually when I go out to eat, I have invited someone to come with me. Okay. What I'm getting at is, I'm an owner of a small business. Back in 2015, I thought I had filed my tax return. Evidently, according to the IRS, the record states I didn't. I didn't even report a 1099 from that year. My business is primarily research into affordable alternative energy. Well, last year I went to an accountant who brought it to my attention that the IRS had believed I owed them $1,500. Well, I paid it down to about $700. And then they shut down the economy. Of course, they still require payment on the debt. I don't want any. I'm doing this to illustrate the titanic hypocrisy of the government. They shut down the economy. I still owe. They still are demanding payment. They offer what's called a carrot on a stick, called the Paycheck Protection Program. Of course, in my business, I'm the only employee. I'm also the owner. So, let's see. Pretty much anything I file the PPP application, They say, okay, so we haven't got a Schedule C for you. Okay, so I fill out a Schedule C, download it off the IRS website, do all the whatever, and I'm brutally honest about what I regarded as company investments last year. Evidently, I spent $47 more than I had been paid, or than I brought in from the business. Therefore, boom! I don't get a PPP compensation. Why? Because PPP is given on net income, not gross income. Okay, so if you really need the money, you're not going to get it. Makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, but you know, it's the Democrats that made the rules. And of course, the Democrats funneled most of the money into a gigantic, centralized alternative energy plant. I think it's either outside of California or in Nevada. Centralized. My specialty is decentralized alternative energy generation. I want to get alternative energy into every person's house so they don't have to go on the grid. Okay, so I'm the little guy. I'm my only employee. I had a lot of freaking expenses last year that sent me about $47 in the red had I not had an extra job to make up that $47 and get my groceries and my my parts for what I'm trying to do. Well, okay, so let's see. I've also got a second, or no, I think that was about 10 demerits that they just knocked off my PPP. I've got an 11th. I'm a conservative. I believe in the individual and them having power over their own lives, whereas the Democrats in Congress believe they should have power over your life and my life. Okay, I think I've pretty much made my point. The Democrats say they're going to give you a reimbursement, but then they say, whoop, nope, sorry, you're doing too much. We can't give you that to you. Why can't you give it to me? You stole the income I was using to do all this stuff, and I still have to do all this stuff. I had to shut down my, my workers' compensation insurance because I couldn't afford it. Okay, so you're cutting off all this fat so that you can survive through the shutdown. Okay, let's put it bluntly. The hostage crisis. The Democrats have taken us hostage. Now, yes, the virus kills. Yes, you cough your lungs out. If you're healthy, you cough your lungs out and you gain an immunity. We don't need a flippin' vaccination. However, the reason they want the vaccination is because they've got a bottom line. They want your money. They want you to pay for their standard of living. No matter how hard you have to struggle to raise your standard of living. I contract out to various businesses in maintenance to pay the bills to develop my decentralized alternative energy systems and make them affordable. However, because most of the businesses that I contract out to were forced to shut down. I can't contract out to anybody. I didn't shut down. As a matter of fact, I'm in my lab night and day doing research, trying to put together the components that I was able to purchase before the shutdown, even though I had a whole boatload of other things I had to pay for that had to do with the business. And I am able to keep working because I am a business that only has one employee. However, the revenue streamed right up. All except for about $150 every 2 weeks because I had a job that was considered an essential job as a merchandiser. Thank goodness for some jobs staying open. I hadn't purchased a few parts for the machine I was building. $150 made sure that I was able to get some groceries. I'm still getting thinner because I walk everywhere. Anyway, I'm not complaining. I do all this stuff anyway. I'm just trying to point out the injustice of the people who are calling themselves my representatives and your representatives right now. The only thing they're looking after is their own pocketbooks, making sure that they can afford the best stuff and making sure that we are providing them the money that they need to do that while we starve to death. And then they're turning our own police officers who are supposed to be protecting our rights against us. This November, we need to make sure that we replace incompetence with competence. Competence are those people that will actually represent us, that will institute laws to protect our rights, not to turn our nation into an open-air supermax penitentiary. We need to stand up and admit we are being played with the COVID-19 hostage crisis. We are being played. The most recent move they've taken is to shuttle out Matt McConaughey to say that people like me are turning this into a political issue on party boundaries. This is not the case. Matt McConaughey, I respect you as an actor, but where politics is concerned, it's the Democrats who turn this into a political thing. We're not combating a virus. We're combating people who do not believe the way that Democrats believe. We are torturing conservatives for being conservatives. We're shutting down opposition. Social media is censoring anything protesting the COVID hostage crisis. We need to put it in our minds. It is not security we're after. It's the ability to use our lives to innovate, to protect each other in reasonable ways, to make sure that our innovations are to build each other up, to free each other, to make a better civilization, not a more totalitarian civilization. It's our duty to get these things done within the framework of our Constitution in the United States. If you don't have a Constitution like the United States, you need to get the Constitution and make sure to institute it as the governing laws of your nation so that you can start becoming more productive too. The whole system set down in that Constitution is to help the person to increase their own net worth, their own standard of living, their own. It's all about individual progress, whereas socialism or feudalism or any of these other systems, communism, socialism, which are basically the same thing in different shades of gray, they're all based on controlling the individual, whereas the Constitution of the United States and the free market system has been based on the individual controlling themselves and making up their own mind as to what they want to do. We have to get back to these things. We have to realize that this COVID-19 hostage crisis has been to attack this lifestyle and this system because the elites want to live off of us. Thank you for watching. Please give me the thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell to receive notifications when I post, and if possible, please leave a comment. Make sure to share, because this is essential information. I got spurned for being too dramatic. Dramatic as a woman on my Facebook for posting something against coronavirus. I basically told the person who did that he was a misogynist and needed to rethink his life, and he went into a tirade on me, saying that, well, I had 3 of the Wonder Women in my life comment on his comment, and he went into a tirade on me about having to be saved out of situations by women. So this is where this type of mentality gets you. If we don't get the word out, we're going to be screwed. Thank you for watching. See you next week. This is Alexander McCauley with Faces of Truth.